Aloha Kohala. It is 3 o'clock on August 2nd, 2023. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. Intuitive Talk Story is live and in person with EILA Allgood and
Michal Anna.
We are so happy to be here.
Yes.
It's another beautiful new day today, Michal.
It is, and I just had a glorious and luxurious 3-hour bodywork session with a dear friend and colleague. And gosh, it was magnificent.
Isn't that wonderful? Because you
is.
give so many people so many wonderful experiences like that, and you were on the receiving end today.
Yeah, it was great. You know, in those moments you go, oh, this really is awesome. This really is. I know why people pay me. This really is great. You know, it's definitely one of those things when you're not giving enough. I have not definitely had the time to get a session, and a lot of the people I traded with have been gone. So I encourage everyone out there to not wait as long as I did this last time and get regular body work. It's so great. And I say that as a body worker, but also as someone who just received.
Yeah. It's very meaningful.
Very meaningful work.
Yeah.
It's good to remember that when you're on the other side too. Like, oh, wow, this is what it feels like. Oh, no wonder they leave all just yummy and glowy.
Well, one of the things, I had a massage last week, and I love the moment where I disappear, where I'm not aware of the person working on me anymore. And I don't know what that is exactly. Am I sleeping? I don't think so. I think I'm kind of la-la land. I just feel like there's a lot of healing that happens in that moment.
Okay, you bring up a cool thing. So I think you and I've even just brought this up in meditation forum too. Like when we go into meditation and you kind of go out, right? And we talked about that place. And we said the same thing. You feel like something deep's really happening there, like some healing's really going on because it's hitting subconscious levels that you can't quite touch.
Yes.
But you know it's like getting in there and you're surrendering to the process and allowing the energy to just do its magic and let it go on a level that we can't maybe understand so many times.
Yeah.
When we're in our, obviously, in
thinking
your head.
mind,
when you're in your head, right? Which is why we have to get in our heart and be in our heart and sit into that place. But it's true. I've noticed as a therapist, you notice different types of people and whether they fall asleep. And often when people are just either so exhausted, this is the one moment they get to rest.
Yeah.
That's like, you need the nap. Just rest. I gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's other folks where when you get to things like you're saying, it gets deep. Literally, they fall asleep. Literally, like they're awake and you hit the deep spot and they just immediately start sleeping. It's really magnificent.
Yeah, I felt that happen the other day because I was talking, like I was giving her little cues about what was working, what wasn't working, and then I was gone. It just seemed like she must have gotten someplace.
She's like, okay, I got you. I'm right in there. And then you're like, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't even really say goodbye.
Yeah.
When I was studying a meditation, that was called a transcending moment, where you kind of go into Theta, like the other brainwave, which I don't fully understand, but I understand we have these different levels of consciousness and conscious awareness, and Theta is not, Delta is where you're sleeping, right? Theta is deeper than that.
Well, it's alpha, beta, theta, delta.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, and
we're in alpha state right now while we're talking or, and commuting a lot of times. But beta is where you meditate. So we've talked about this a little before, I think, in the brain chemistry and talking about resonance. So kind of the goal when we're meditating is to get into that beta state where you're conscious, but yet in beta, and operating from there. And that's really the field of potentiality. That's where that field of potentiality is met, when we can actually access the field and change it from that place. So that's why we want to, when we're meditating, we want to drop in, get into those theta waves. And now we're actually moving the field. We're creating our reality. If we're just sitting there thinking in alpha, we're not really doing, that's not really meditating really so much. That's just thinking, right? So well, there's different schools of thought about that, but it's better to sit there and have the thoughts and allow the thoughts than to not sit there at all. Because sometimes the thoughts, they just
they're bombarding you. So,
of course, we're not saying that's not valuable.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we just want to understand what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being aware of what technique I'm using. Mm-hmm. Maybe right now, so we know I'm thinking and I'm processing and I'm maybe using that aspect. But if I want to reach into the field of potentiality, mm-hmm. that's not going to get me there. Mm-hmm. So if I think I'm meditating and I'm not, it would be helpful for me to understand that, oh, that's not how I get into that place. So to get into that place, I have to go into my heart space and I have to actually drop into the body. And we talked about this a little bit last time, but what I find, and you brought this up, getting into your heart and that mm-hmm. coming up this week, or since I've seen you, and I've seen. I mean, well, it's up for everyone all the time. Honestly, I mean,
it's like this. It's like this up and down. And lately, my thoughts have been just really running my life, and it just is a huge reminder. It doesn't matter where I am on my path. I need to remember to drop into my heart, and I talked about unconditional love in that exchange too, because in loving myself is accepting and not making myself wrong, because this is what I can go down the spiral too. I'm having these thoughts. Why am I thinking that way? I shouldn't be doing that. A lot of negative self-talk. And it's so much easier for me to love somebody else and see oh, hey, you're great. You're just perfect the way you are. It's okay that you had all those thoughts during meditation. So it's like turn that around and use it for ourselves.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And also do what we talk about a lot. Use that moment to pick up the pearls, because it's pointing you somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's reaching into somewhere that you might not want to reach into. Mm-hmm. And so you don't reach for the pearl because you just want to love myself. I just would rather do that. It's easier to just go, you know what? I don't need to look at that. I just want to love myself and be done with this. Well, that's great. I wish we could. But we have to kind of sometimes, like myself, this last unraveling, and I was washing out all sorts of things through this session for my own self of things I've been removing over time. And this was now peel away of that layer. Mm-hmm. But it's taken time. Mm-hmm. to peel this layer, and it's been a layer, and it's like whoa, and that, and all those things. I think we have to be willing to go. Oh, and for me, it's what it comes down to is, my little girl. It's all of our little girl.
Yeah.
The inner me is going. I understand, but I'm having the tantrum, and she's the one who needs to be seen and talked to. Mm-hmm. So you as our older self, well, I just want to love myself and I get it. I'm good. What? But it's not really you, the older self now. It's your inner self that's still feeling emotionality or still left energy in a place. So our clue is just showing up here. Mm-hmm. So if you get confused and think that your current reality is what's going on and that's the issue, that's usually wrong. It's usually just a reflection of something far deeper that you don't want to look at, trying to get you to see it. It's popping up as a replay somewhere. Yes. It's an energetic replay. So I have a great example that I jump off my one last time, projections, projecting rejection. So we're all projecting things as we're learning and growing. We're projecting our realities, which is why we can change our realities, because we're projecting our realities, because we're co-creators having this amazing experience here. So as energetic beings, if I'm projecting, let's say that my father always was, if I'm going to walk in a room, my dad's going to be like, what are you doing in here, Michal? Let's say I had that expectation, which sometimes I did. So now, later in life, I've projected rejection.
Yes.
By expecting that they're not going to want me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have come in anyway. I'll go. I didn't mean to bother you. And you might find yourself in a moment of trigger doing what I just did, speeding up. I'm sorry. That happens. Okay, that can be a really great tell that you're in a trigger. Mm-hmm. Or you might heighten or raise your voice, or you might louden or soften your voice. If you do any of those, you're in a trigger. Mm-hmm. So then and the best way to, I was talking yesterday we were saying he's like, how do you not take the choice? He's like, I just see a tunnel. Like I can see that I can't see anything but the tunnel, which is like, you mother, or whatever. That's the tunnel. And, how do you not go in the tunnel? Like, because I can't see anything outside
and it's calling
of it,
you.
right?
Yeah.
It's calling you. And I'm like, yeah, there's those moments. I too, you want to go, I can't believe this is, and then you breathe right into, I choose love because I am committed to my growth and my path. And this is for me, and this is when you have to look at for yourselves out there. What's your motivator? Why are you doing it? What's your motivator? So for me, I am highly motivated to evolve, ascend, understand myself, know myself. Know thyself has been the pinnacle motivator of my life. So unattached and amused, I'm committed to God's source energy, getting through the mire and understanding divinity, because I want to resonate with God again and go, that's my heart's desire. So I'm committed to that more than anything. I'm married to that commitment to that. So that means anything that shows up, it's like, I think of it more like, you're trying to keep me from getting home. You're not going to keep me from going home. You're not pulling me into your drama. Oh, I'm not taking the bite. Oh, you're trying to remember my dad when I was wounded as a little girl. You're trying to get me to engage in that. Right. Everything's trying to get me off the path of going home. Because I know I am in a fairy book, in my own fairy book, and I'm on a magical journey, just like they show you in the movies. Wizard of Oz, I'm on the golden road, and I am going home to the magical place. And I know it. And so I'm committed to the magical road and myself, period. So that's my motivator. You kind of have to have this motivator. It can also be love, just love itself. I'm committed. That's what it is. I'm committed to love itself. Like, I'm not going to stoop and lower. And just because it's like we used to say, the age-old saying, just because two wrongs don't make a right. Just because someone else says it doesn't mean you need to. Those come into play. You don't lower oneself to meet this lower situation that's trying to pull you into the mud. Don't you want to play in the mud over here in the dark oil and get all grimy with me? No, I do not. I'm committed to love, and I'm going to stay focused because I'm going home. You can't distract me. In spite of you, in spite of all of you, I'm going to pick up my stuff. I'm going to humble myself, because usually something right here means I have to humble myself. This is usually a moment where I have to go, all right, what was my 1%? Maybe it might be that. It was maybe 80%, but now I've worked it down to, let's say, 10. Now I'm at 8, and I'm still at 5% something I did, because I'm creating my reality. It's only here because of something I'm still resonating in. There's no other way around it, because it's my movie. So what's my 5%? What am I hitting? What's going down? What's inside there? Ooh, and you literally will take, for me, I get taken straight to a memory in my mind. I'll go straight to a memory, which usually is like, oh, wow, where am I? I'm here. Ooh. My little girl is like, yeah, remember this is blah, 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 blah. And I feel this whole energy going on. So I start looking around. You freeze that memory, and I start looking around for my stuff. Like, how was I feeling here? And, I didn't feel like I felt like I was in trouble. Like I wasn't doing a good job. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble. Someone's mad at me. See, now I know that's why I'm going, Why? It's because I'm having a recall to this moment. So call back all the energy, like, okay, I'm sorry. I forgive myself. I forgive the people. I'm sorry to my father and my person, everybody who's in the vision. Forgive everyone and just love yourself. That's where you get to go, I'm just going to love myself and move on. Well, now you insert that. I'm going to love myself. My higher self, that's you now, that's not 7, is going, 7-year-old self, you're going to be all right. I got you, and we're going to get out of here. Did you grab everything? And you're never going to have to come back here again. And now I'm aware that you have a little bit of a hurt here. So I'll be more compassionate, maybe a little more aware that you this happened for you, so I can kind of go, hey, is this touching that? You all right? Got you, right? I can be like the older sister to myself, be compassionate to myself, because I know you've been through a lot, so I'm going to be there for you. I create that relationship now in myself. See, so now, because I ultimately, the higher self, have to take care of all of my inner self's needs and desires and wants, from, the biggest to the very smallest, because, hate to go here, but love to go here. There's nobody out there. So when it comes down to it, I am ultimately responsible for my everything, my happiness, my experience, what I'm navigating. It's all about me owning my reality and looking at it deeper and just really taking accountability. True freedom. To have true freedom, it really means taking true responsibility.
Yes. And also, being in the moment. I find sometimes recently, all the things you're talking about, I was definitely resonating with. And I was interacting with somebody, and I was anticipating that his response was, I had a whole story that if I said A, B, and C, he'd respond with D, E, and F, and that would start H, I, and J.
Wow,
I was gone. I was gone. And then I had the awareness that was happening, and I said, is that really the path you want to take? Like, just breathe. Focus on what's in your heart. And instead of trying to hurry something along, just wait until you don't have that whole story anymore. And then what story would you like to have? What's the outcome or the result or the interaction you want to have? And I thought, oh, okay. Like, I'm only talking to myself here, but I was getting my higher self involved instead of the little brain that was buzzing along. And as it turned out, through that process, the interaction was at a higher level. And there was none of that story that I was anticipating earlier on. So I think it helps for us to be more aware of what's going on with us. And like you say, your voice starts to get high when you're going to talk to somebody, or you even feel that something's coming up and you haven't opened your mouth yet, but you just know it's going to be snappy or nasty or smart alecky, or it's like, walk away. Now's not the time.
Or you feel like like you were just doing to your body, you feel it on your chest.
Oh, you can feel it coming up.
Or you start to just feel like something's like you want to hide. You might feel that feeling like, oh no, it has like that like everyone's looking at you in a crowd feeling.
And some anxiety and each of us are different, and each time is different. So know your cues.
Exactly.
Like what's happening to you? Are you starting to sweat?
Right. Are your hands shaking?
Maybe that's not. Maybe you need to go breathe by yourself for a while to clear yourself and to get more centered, so that when you do interact with another human, you're doing it in the way that honors you. And as you were talking about listening to cues, I was thinking of honoring your soul. Like you were talking about what you're wanting to achieve in your connection with spirit and going home. And I was thinking, honoring your soul, honoring your own spirit. If we do that, that is in alignment with the divine.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes, because when you're connected to your soul purpose, then you're living in harmony with, you're an infinite piece of God, and I'm an infinite piece of God, and we're all an infinite piece of God. We're all a hologram of the infinite, and we each have just this exact mixture, divine spark, to be this exact thing. None of us are the same, which is so cool, that if we just totally enacted what our divine spark was. That's really it. That's all we all get to do. Can we just all trust your divine spark of what that is and let it be so? And in the process, though, we have to get a lot of stuff off of us, mostly because we've been through a lot of pain here, as we've explored in the past. So there's a lot of pain here, right? So we're being offered right now in history, or in the time period we're in, we're being offered the opportunity to really make the choice to go into the heart and choose love at monumental differences than have ever been presented in the last 26,000 years. And so we're really at an incredible place, because vibrationally, if you're not familiar with the things, there's some science behind that. the Schumann resonance is something cool to check out, and that's the resonance of the gamma rays of the sun hitting the planet Earth. And we have had extraordinary Schumann resonances for the last 5 years. And people are a lot of people are watching those daily, because there's a lot of gamma ray activity, which influences things like you might have heard people say upgrades or feeling like they're getting, moved into a higher dimensional frequency. That also is in alignment with these energies that are available to us. So if you're working with these energies and consciously, you're going to experience obviously even more benefit, but I think everyone is being so quote unquote upgraded, whether you know it or not, to some degree, wherever you're able to receive that.
I think as you're saying that, maybe I feel that the comfort or discomfort we may experience moving through life may be connected to that, and whether we're being resistant to it or not. That's like a rhetorical question, because we don't know the answer to that. But it's just kind of like, as you're saying that, I'm like, okay, so sometimes we resist the move forward. We don't know we're doing it. Maybe we're not conscious of it. And maybe that's why we're in discomfort or pain or having an argument with somebody, is because we're resisting this next upgrade. And I don't know.
Yeah, and then also I in alignment with that, I think even if your soul's desire, let's say, is to really grow, and that's really the desire of your soul, then your soul will provide you opportunities even when you're not connected to your soul. So let's say you really want to go. So your soul's going to put stuff right in your face, which usually isn't comfortable because it's trying to wake you up.
Right.
Like, wake up. Car accidents are a great example. Those are often wake-up calls.
God.
Like, you're making mistakes. What are you going to do about it? Where are you? You're not paying attention. You need to change your life around. That's usually a car accident is usually something like that. At least, it always has been for me, like a little boom.
I used to have a lot of car accidents
so
when
wake
I was
up,
a young
EILA.
person.
Exactly. And
a lot of waking up there for years.
Up. Plus, also, that can also be there are such things as attacks. We're not going to get into that today, but that's also a very real thing. So that's true too. And we are conscious creators. So that's, let's say this about that. We are all conscious co-creators, divine creators. So whether you are consciously creating or not, you are creating. So let's say you are negatively thinking about someone really intently, you can actually be cursing them, so to let you know how powerful you are. You're powerful. So it's another reason why we want to watch your mind. You're like, I don't want to hurt anyone with my thoughts. You're a powerful being. So change it and see Joe Blow as a really nice guy, and, maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they've had a bad day, or maybe they come from family problems. Remember, in general, we all come from way more than we think somebody comes from. And we make snap judgments by just looking at someone, and they're usually wrong. And, everyone really has a story, and everyone, I think, pretty much everyone are good people, and everybody wants the same things.
We all came in as little beings of love.
Yeah, we all just want to love each other.
And then stuff happened. So, we're undoing that and becoming more aware of ourselves through this life process.
Totally.
And we do that with one another by bumping up and bouncing off and supporting and not supporting and all the things that we do in relationship. It helps us to wake up more and more.
Mm-hmm. And the less you take things personal, which we have many shows on, the less you take things personal, the easier that really is. Neutrality does take getting at us in trauma in order to sit in it all the time, because it means that you're no longer hitting all the places of your own wound every time something comes up when you're in conversation with somebody else. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are, I remember when that was the case for myself, when I also was sitting in a lot of wound and, could feel the angst going on all the time while something's happening. You might remember, like, in your teenage years, and you remember the angst that you felt, right? Yeah. So there's angst there when you're not feeling, when you're out of neutrality. So bottom line is you want to feel good all the time. And the way we do that is by paying attention to when we feel bad. What's it telling us? They're messages. It's not like something to be scared about. We've kind of been programmed to think something's wrong. It's more like an alert system. Your body alerts you to let you know, hey, there's something we need to look at here. And we as divine creators have every capacity to address, anything. as long as we know what's going on. So let's not be afraid. And that's kind of like back to the society in general has taught the people to like not look at the pink elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm all about the pink elephant in the room. Because if you look at the pink elephant, well, you fix everything.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
And if you ignore the pink elephant, you just run around trying to fix perceived problems or symptoms.
Symptoms,
There's
I think.
symptoms of whatever because you can't see the elephant. So you just see, oh, there's another bounce over there on the wall. It's really the elephant's throwing a ball over there. But you didn't know because you don't see the elephant. So you just think there's well, let's just stand over here by the wall.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to do anything. The elephant's he's throwing the wall. He's now throwing it to the other wall. Forget,
Right.
So, if you go to the root, you're going to like, whoosh, and to me, that's like the efficient way to go. But it takes a little more, I'm all, the truth.
I think it takes more courage.
It takes a little courage.
Yeah, because you don't know what you're going to find.
You got to be willing to pop the pimple.
Right, and that might hurt. And sometimes we are comfortable with things as they are, even if they're not great.
Right.
More so than rocking that and messing that up and getting to the root of it and finding out, oh man, I might have to do something big here.
I remember talking to a gentleman long ago. It was leaving a relationship. It didn't I don't want to have to go back out there and meet new people and do it all again. I mean, it's just a lot of work. So you'd rather stay in something that's not fulfilling and not serving you just because that seems like daunting work. Like you don't even have to go back out there. Does it have to be anything a specific way? We think we're supposed to do something. You don't even have to find another person actually, because you could just be whole yourself and be happy as an individual living life, depending on whatever it is your heart's desire is, what you want, how old you are, what you're doing. I mean, if you're 20, sure, you want to have kids.
Right, but it's not going over there and doing that because of what might happen. It's kind of like that thought process I was telling you. It's like I was thinking all these things might happen. And my none of them happened, but I had to change my attitude first because they probably would have happened.
Oh, totally. If you would have thought they would have, then they probably would have.
Yeah, because my energy would have been feeding that.
Yeah, you changed it up.
Yeah, so it's, yeah.
So that shows all of us, right? That's the power of changing your reality. Mm-hmm. And you were doing that. I wanted to mention you were doing that one in the moment. So that's like you're having the conversation with the person. You're having the dialogue with your higher self inside yourself. Simultaneously, you're also seeing all the different things that could take place while you're still engaged in conversation.
Yes.
That's a lot going on. But so I'm just saying to out there.
I did walk away a couple times.
So practicing being present helps us to be able to have that kind of mental clarity where you can field all those things, be with them each, and stay calm and in the center and address it and shift it.
Right.
That took a lot of breath presence. It took you sitting in your center, being really present. It's kind of like when an emergency happens, you don't want the frantic person, right?
Right.
You want the
you
person
want calm EILA to come through. Yes.
And just like hold it because I got to see 5 things at once. We got 8 things coming at our back. We got this happening, but we can't freak out because there's boogies on our tail.
Yep.
See, so we all need a little bit of that, and that's what it does take to get through this game. So I really give thanks to my mama again. Mama Karina, thank you for toting me around and putting me in a lot of different things. I've been ice skating and dancing since I was 5 years old. So if you have kids, I highly encourage you to get them into sports, activities, movement that creates right-left brain activity. That quick, at speed, right-left brain activity strengthening really gave me a jump point on brain and creating neural pathways. Holy cow. And that's why I started a skate night. If you don't know about the skate night, it's down in Kona. It's awesome. We do,
roller skating.
It's first Saturdays at Old A's. And it's so fun. And it is literally come down and skate and fall and try stuff.
And you play music, right?
Yeah,
you have a DJ.
And it's like funky. It's kind of like be like with the skate rink, and people are having birthday parties.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, people dress up. They bring lights.
Nice.
So the next one is actually Saturday. Followed by the Blue Dragon, our new band, Funye, Afro trance, ecstatic fusion explosion at the Blue Dragon this August 5th, Saturday night too. Come on down and dance. Great fun. So skate and dance. Anything you can do to move is actually a really good thing, because moving gets us using that left-right brain. It gets us creating new neurons and new neural pathways, which enables us to shift our mind, like EILA was just doing.
When in that doing, I put on music and I dance.
See?
Yes. I put on music and I dance because I thought, you know what? You're not in the great space right now. This is only going to help. And it only helps. It never, putting on dance music, and even if I barely move, it always is better than not doing it. So
okay, so you bring up another cool connector, which is, so when you're dancing, you let go of your mind. You're not in you're no longer in your left brain. Yeah. What happens is you actually move into your right brain. And there's like a little online, there's a little free thing, it says it's a right left brain pictograph, but you can watch it. She's turning one way. You can try and turn it the other way by moving yourself in your other brain. It's a fun exercise.
Yeah.
And then you try and make her move. She'll move one way if you're in one brain, one way of the other. Point is, being in the heart is connected to our omega energy. I'm going to say it this way. That's feminine, but omega, meaning we have a lot of parameters on what we think these masculine, feminine words are. And we're confusing that with our gender. Yeah. Which is not really what this is. I'm in a female body, but I have omega and alpha energy, as do all beings. So we all have those energies, and we all need to understand that, so that we don't think we're somebody else just because we have both. We all have both, and it's whatever we want to do with it. So our omega energy, or getting into our feminine, is really getting into, we're activating that right brain. We're activating the right brain, which is more of the intuitive, receptive wisdom, receiving yin, this quality of calm, right? This quality of being in the center. I mean, think of a mother, how she can handle all things. Think of the care, think of the nourishment, think of the patience. These are qualities. They're not a characteristic of, well, that's a woman. No, those are qualities of a energy, omega, which is within myself. So in order to get into a place where we can get in our heart, we actually have to get out of our thinking brain and move into our feeling brain, which is connected more to our omega energy. So that what EILA did was an activity that moved her out of her thinking brain and into her feeling brain. So you want to ask yourself, what does that for me?
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Gets me out of my thinking brain and moves me into my feeling brain? It might be surfing. It might be working out. It might be putting music on. It might be going for a walk. Maybe it's running. Maybe whatever it is.
And it may be a whole bunch of stuff, so that you have a whole different kind of
cachet.
Yes. Smorgasbord.
Of tools.
Smorgasbord of tools.
We love smorgasbord of tools. Yes. Use as many as, why not? The more the merrier.
Yeah.
But point is to bring it to your conscious mind that so that when you do get to a place where you are in a trigger, like EILA just was, she knew, I have this tool. And she just whipped it right out, threw it in, and bam, changed up her day. Yeah. So you have it in your back pocket. So when you reach a moment, you can do it in the moment, like EILA just explained. Yeah. Do it in the moment, because now we're living the power. Because what I see a lot in client work is they're like, Michal, I was doing great, and then this happened. Well, then I lost it. And then now they're coming to me. Well, right, I can see that, because now we got to pull all this off, because once you go down, you get covered again with all the stuff. It just bang, 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 locks you back up. So the goal is not to go down. So that means you want to get to the point, if you're working through trauma or wound or program or trigger, or just simply, you don't even have to think of it as trauma. You can just be in behaviors that are not serving, because they come from somewhere. Think of it that way. You don't have to be like, well, I'm not traumatized. Nothing's wrong with me. I have a great life. Yes.
No, but we all have behaviors that aren't perfect.
Right.
That's part of being human.
Yeah.
And maybe we know where that behavior comes from, and maybe we don't want to psychoanalyze ourselves right now. we just know we don't want to keep exhibiting that particular behavior.
So we don't have to harp on ourselves or feel bad. We can just know, you know what, it probably means my inner child's hurt somewhere. And that's just like, oh, poor me. I'm going to go find it and give that inner me a hug and tell them they don't have to do that anymore. Think of it more like that versus like, well, God, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with any of us. We've all just been hurt. So we find our hurt spot, give ourselves a hug, pick up our stuff, and then go, new game. This is no longer do we have to do this anymore because I'm the bomb and I'm amazing and I love myself. And then we do I love myself.
Yes.
And now it sticks because you actually did the stuff that's going to make it stick.
You cleaned it up a bit.
You actually looked at the pink elephant and you're like, you can't really hang out in here anymore. I'm going to close this place up. This room's going away. So you going to go? Bye. See ya. Clink, clink.
Let's take a break. And if anybody wants to call in, our number is 808-884-5657, and we will be right back.
The Kohala Night Market is moving to the Hub Barn beginning Wednesday, August 2nd, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The community is invited to shop locally produced food and crafts and enjoy entertainment by Caden Vanezuela. Also, food trucks will be cooking up some local grinds. That's the Kohala Night Market on Wednesday, August 2nd, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Hub Barn. See you there.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha Kohala. This is EILA Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKR-LP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
Protecting me, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me, I am.
On Monday, August 7th at 3 p.m., the North Kohala Public Library is presenting a special storytime program, Remembering Frank Ash. The library will be honoring the life of Frank Ash, author and entertainer, by sharing his stories with the community. Uncle Frank was a regular guest during story time at the library, along with his character, Moon Bear. That's Monday, August 7th at 3 p.m. For more information, contact the North Kohala Public Library. Mahalo.
Welcome back. You're listening to KNKR-LP 96.1 FM Kohala with EILA Allgood and
Michal Anna
on Intuitive Talk Story. And if you want to text anything, I have my cell phone nearby. We have.
I do not have mine.
And you do not have yours because you were just in La La Land. And you can call the radio station, or we'll just keep going.
We'd love to hear from you. Or if you even have like a in the moment thing you want help with, we could like dissect it if you like that kind of. I mean, it's just easy. Like throw it in a moment you want to look at, and we can unpeel it if you like. These tools are super fun to work with, I think, and I like to think of it as fun. I'm going to put that out there because self-work can often seem daunting, but it's fun because it leads to freedom. Think of it that way.
So one of the things that's come up for me, because, you know, when you interact with people in the world, they're not all where you are and enjoying life the way you are or thinking like you do. And periodically someone will bring up some piece of global news that's really dark. Whatever it is, doesn't even matter. And I'm somebody who can't help herself but to point out the positive. I don't think about it. I just look for like some little positive thing in it. However, there's an energy about that I don't want to dismiss somebody either. That's their reality. They heard this on the news and it's had an impact on them and they're worried about it or they're thinking about it. And it's kind of like I'm looking for ways to approach it, not just the way I usually do, which is like, well, at least this didn't happen. You know, that's kind of how I go. But that can be a little flippant. It's kind of like I want maybe just letting them finish what they have to say.
Absolutely. Good start.
Right. And say, I hear you. That's kind of tough stuff. And I usually say, that's not the reality that I'm focused on. It doesn't mean it's not there, and it doesn't negate them. It's just I don't want to put my energy into that.
And I think that's cool. And I was just, when you were saying that, I wanted to just bring in this, because we talked about AI last time. There's like, now we live in a world of massive deep fakes. Let's just say you can really fake anything. So I believe it's very foolish to rely on media for your view of anything.
Right.
I mean, it's better to have a viewpoint and know, like, what do I think about life? What are my values? What do I think? And then look at something, maybe more as like, hey, we're just going to take a look at this. It's less attachment and less weight on things outside of you. Back to, well, there's nobody out there.
Right.
Is that the thing is that your reality is shaped by your understanding and creations of what you're experiencing and what you're really resonating in your own emotional vibrational qualities. So if I'm feeling a lot of fear around, something on the other side of the world or whatever, and about anything, I'm just resonating a fear vibration in my body, which isn't going to help me create a vibrational reality that I want. I'm now going to be resonating fear to myself. So no matter what we hear from anyone, I more think than this, and this where we're going these days is like, well, we just don't really know. So if you're really, if I was talking to someone, I might say, well, if you're really concerned about it, I would suggest doing some research, because there's so many unreliable sources right now about what's real, what's not, in general. Like I would find some other, I would say like you get to do a school paper. Anymore these days, if you really want to rely on media for your source of what's going on in the world or life, then the only way you can do that efficiently is to remember the days when you did a report. So now you get to go get some sources, write down key points, and make an argument, yes, no, for why is it happening? Is this even correct? Are these things real? What's really going on here? What are the reasons why this is happening? Why am I seeing this photo laid out this way in the first place? What set that up? So if I actually do some research on it, I'm probably going to find that what I first thought it was isn't what it was. It's something different. It may still not be comfortable. I'm not saying that it'll be comfortable, but it will be maybe different than what I thought. So now I get to look at the truth. And this is a big point in and of itself, is just ask yourself, are you willing to know the truth? This is a real question. Are you willing to know the truth about the world you live in, or the reality you live in, or what is really, if someone gave you the choice, do you really want to know? Or would you prefer to live a blissful ignorance? It's a real question. And about whatever. I don't even have a specific thing I'm talking about, just in general. What would you prefer? Some people will say, you know what, I really wouldn't want to know. I would just prefer not to know. And if you feel that way, that's okay. There's no judgment on that. It's good to know where you're at.
Yeah.
What are you willing to deal with in this particular lifetime? We're not all at the end of the game. Some of us want to come back a number of times. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about things, and she said, you've always just been like this, like so dedicated. We've known each other like 20 years. She said, you've always been hungry. You're always present. She goes, always. I'm like, I know, I am. I don't ever, she was talking about, she goes in and out and in and out. And I go, I don't really do that. And she goes, you don't. And she goes, you never really have. You've always, she goes, I'm not like you. She goes, I'm coming back. She goes, I'm coming back next time. I already know I'm coming back. She's like, I'm not going, I'm going to come back a couple more times. She's like, I know I'm not done.
I'm not done yet.
She's like, I know I'm not done. So I'm not trying as hard as you. I'm just kind of like, I don't need to do what you're doing because I'm not done. And it was just a real answer.
Honoring.
It's a real honest answer. Like, we're not all doing the same game. And there's no right or wrong. It's just like, where are we in the adventure? Like the Jumanji adventure, back to that. Where are you in your video game? What part are you on? Oh, you're at that part? Oh, I remember that one. That was cool. It's just like an elder talking to a kid, or, we're all just all at different spaces.
Well, I think, observing what's going on out there, and hearing different people talk about different things, the news and what state of the world there is, sometimes that feels just like a distraction. It feels like a distraction from me doing my work. If I get caught up in politics or religion or one of those big old topics, that's just distracting me from my doing my work, because I get lost in some story that I don't. One of the things I feel today when I read something or someone tells me something, I don't know it's true. Let me check in and see if that feels like it could be true. Usually it's like some aspect of it is true, but I think it's a whole lot more complicated than anyone is making it out to be. And again, not one specific thing, but I think we often scapegoat leaders and people that are in the media and say, oh my God, she is a horrible, horrible person. Did you read what that said? And I'm like, she is a child of God like me.
He was without sin, be the one to cast the first stone.
Yeah, and I don't know the whole story.
And I got my own garden to tend. I don't know what's going on over there. I have no idea.
Right.
Because we really don't ever know. And
we don't know.
I mean, the thing about there's so many things we could talk about. We're going to steer away from all those topics because they're not of value here. But
no, it's just looking at for me, it's looking at my place in my human interactions and how I want to respond to what people are pulling into my movie. It's like, do I want that in my movie? I don't want that in my movie. So
one thing I noticed, so I consciously left the worldly ways, when I left the mainland, right? Long ago, but I went traveling. I was in Mexico, living in other places when I was young at 23, graduated college, and kind of I'm not going to do that regular, rigmarole.
Yeah.
So I went another direction. And I noticed when I would go back to where I came from, Denver, and visit people, and you do the original beginning 10 years was you go back and you have conversations where I would notice all the time everyone where I live in Denver. I was from Denver. All their conversations revolved around shows they watched, television shows that they watched or news that they read.
Yeah.
I was left out of all the talks.
Yeah.
They always look at me and
you didn't relate to anything.
I don't watch the TV. I don't read any of that.
Yeah.
I literally turned off everything when I came here and just listened to the land and to the water and just spent time in nature and learning and with people, learning from them about gardening or learning how to do stuff, hunting, doing things, etc. Just being immersed. And that ultimately is what you're saying, is that it's that turning all that off is going to get you in touch more with who we are, who am I, without an influence of Facebook. Or nowadays you have Facebook. We didn't have that then when I was 24, thank God.
Yeah.
So grateful. But that must be so hard. Kids, turn it off. It's just giving you expectations and things that aren't even real. What is your desire? Who are you? What do you want? I mean, that's what it's about. It's about your own beautiful desires and listening to your inner creativity, your inner passion, your inner voice, and not allowing these other things to infiltrate our minds, which we talked quite a bit about on our AI show, is these things are infiltrating our minds, and it's a real thing. So we have to make conscious choices to create a real natural life with human intelligence and human heart versus artificial intelligence and artificial living. So that's the choice that we all are presented with at this time. And what helps us is to just make that conscious choice of getting in the heart, giving ourselves tools and ways to get into the heart so that we can stay connected to our natural human heart, our human intelligence, and our compassion.
I got a call from someone who had listened to our show who was encouraging us to talk about people doing more art as a way to kind of counterbalance the AI thing, because when we create from the heart, it's unlike, and we talked about this a little bit last time, it's like nothing else that could be automatically created. That's right. No matter how advanced a computer is, it cannot it cannot create the poem I can create from an experience that I had. Just can't do it.
Right. And that feeling you're accessing infinite potentiality. You are accessing source. You know, and you feel like, oh, it just came to me, man. It was like it just went right through me.
Download.
Exactly. That's that feeling, right? And
and
to be and so the way I say is that we want to find as many ways to get ourselves into the field of consciousness where we're feeling that like, back to that place of like where are you like creating. My friend, we were talking to a friend the other night. He was making awesome like pants. He was drawing on his pants to make them like colorful and creating sayings on them. So you can get out of the box. I mean, that's activating. He's having a good time late at night, just activating his art and his feeling. And ooh, check this out. I'm making this. I personally love the land is a great place to get creative, right?
Yeah.
In your garden, putting something to use. There's so many fun things and projects and easy ways we can entertain ourselves with really creative. We are so innovative. I'm amazed at the innovation that humans are really having right now. The one thing I do like about social media is the ability to see all these innovative ideas that humans are creating all over the world that are like, that is brilliant. And
it's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
It's good to be inspired.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see someone else's something and you're like, well, I can't do that, but that gives me an idea for this. You know, and you take it in your own direction based on who you are.
So that actually reminds me that last week, the meditation I led, I felt was around igniting your creative fire and your inspiration and moving that through your alpha omega energy and centering and grounding it into the heart, which is all the stuff we've been talking about today. So that visual, if you're, kind of want to see that in your mind, is you can see those alpha omega kind of going from your whole chakra column from the core or the bottom, your sacrum, all the way up to the top of your head. You can, and beyond, but you can just see this column, see each center, 1 through 7 there in the body, moving this emerald green of the Holy Father, aquamarine of the Holy Mother, and yellow gold of kind of the Christic light, the Christic seed, or all the seed of the infinite, that Trinity system, which at this point in the game, there's kind of either the Trinity or the biowave being shown out there. Really simple way to know whether it's like of the infinite one. Is it the truth? Is it a 3-part or 2-part system? So we're in a Trinity wave, a 3-part system, because we have what? Heart. We're not Siri. We aren't a biowave system. We have a heart, so we can feel and express and connect. So moving those colors in harmony through each of your centers, along with this magenta flame, and think of that as your creative passion igniting through your beingness. So using colors is another way to inspire yourself, to activate. So what are some other fun ones you like, EILA, for getting creative?
I was thinking about something else.
Okay, well, painting.
I'm sorry.
I like painting. Rocks. Creating things. Lego. The Lego effect. Like, what are Lego? We're building things like terraforming, creating fun land. I like making nooks and crannies myself.
Nooks and crannies?
Yeah, I love creating little zones like around my home.
Oh, yeah,
like the
yeah.
land that you can like find, and like you'd walk upon it would be magical. Like you'd feel like, oh, we should sit here and talk. I love that feeling of magic.
That's pretty sweet.
So
Yeah. What I wanted to say is, because we're getting near the end, and we need to do this in a particular way, but to let people know that on August 14th, you're going to be at the store in town, Raise Your Vibration, and you're going to be, I'll let you say what you're going to do. I'm just telling people where it is and when it is, and if they want more information, they can contact me or Michal, and we'd be happy to tell you more about it. But you say a little bit about what the 2 hours will be.
If you're interested in some of these tools we refer to a lot, and you'd like to do them in practice and like help understanding them and just move through them, and kind of a more in-depth breakdown and real hands-on practice of engaging in the tools of your daily tools to manage and create your vibrational reality.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to know more about that, just be in touch with one of us.
Yeah.
And
reach out.
We'll let you know.
Reach out. We would
Reach
love
out
it. You can
and
always
touch.
visit Raise Your Vibration down in Hawi Town, where Miss EILA is many of the time. And
Many of the time, yes.
And I see her beautiful things there. And in general, we hope that we're all in this time finding more and more ways to activate our creativity, to stay in our hearts. That's really the message today, is let us be in the heart.
Yeah, and one of the things I noticed in the past week is that sometimes some old pattern comes up because it wants to like really get healed.
Yes.
It's like, gosh, I thought I was done with that.
It's a layer being shown.
And it's not good or bad. It's not, I haven't evolved at all. It's just another layer that needs to get looked at.
Yeah, really quick, I want to say, like, if you, for instance, had, like, we were just talking about the 7, if I just pulled all that memory out, if I just moved something, or if I just move something big off of me, the 7-year-old who's been stuck under there, hiding for a long time, is now right on the surface. So you will find yourself engaging in behaviors, thoughts from the time period that you might had the wound. You'll feel like I'm 7 again. I'm acting like a 7-year-old. I'm acting like a 9-year-old, like an 11-year-old. That's your inner child, moving through the places. That's why we want to give that a lot of love. And you want to acknowledge, because your inner child is the one going into program and going into trigger. So the more we acknowledge it, we give attention to it, and we say, oh, that's been hard for you. We love you. You're going to be all right. We can make a new choice. And we make that conscious effort to reprogram and give yourself the new vibrational reality you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, I think sometimes some of us as young people, we weren't the bratty little 7-year-old because maybe we weren't allowed to be. Or we didn't think we better not be, because then mommy won't like me or daddy won't like me. So maybe being a brat at 50 is just that piece needing to come out and be healed and say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay that you have those thoughts, you had those feelings.
I think being seen, feeling seen, there's not that many. We're all experiencing variations of all of them.
Yeah.
Feel seen. Do I feel valued? Do I feel loved? And see me, it's a big one for a lot of us.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody sees me. I'm not appreciated. Whatever thing we want to whine about. I have many myself.
Yes.
And that goes back to, I've got to go, darn it, I wanted somebody else to give me that, I guess, but no, that's the surrender part. Back to that, like to end out on that. Humility is key. That surrender goes, nobody else gets to, EILA can't give it to me. I just have to give it to myself.
Yes.
Okay, I just surrender to God, and I give thanks, and I give that to myself, and I release, and I embody, and I breathe into love, because I choose love, for I am love, and that is all there is.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Michal, for being here and breathing with me and talking with everybody else. Well, talking at everybody else.
We didn't hear you all.
We didn't hear you all, but maybe we do hear you on some level.
In the ethers, actually. But we would love to hear more from you. If you want to reach out, we love your comments. You can feel free to comment on any of the shows on my channel with questions, or thoughts, and we can answer them if you ever are interested. Yeah,
or even just bringing something up that you'd like us to
talk
kind
about.
Of go into. Feel into. Explore.
Well, we love you all out there. Infinite love to all. Mm-hmm. We are together. Yes. Aloha.
Aloha. We will be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay. Aloha, everybody.